The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's role-play session with your host, Craig Proctor.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. Today we're going to see how good you folks are on the phone when you're following up your leads. Lead follow-up, by the way, is the Achilles heel. Most of you are pretty good with lead generation. If you're not good with lead generation, don't worry, you've come to the right place. We're going to help all of you. Lead generation actually is really the easy part. That's what we hear from our veteran members is, Craig, the biggest problem I have is trying to follow up with all the leads. So to help me on today's webinar, I have, sort of an expert when it comes to the universal callback script and lead follow-up. It's our coach and great member, Mr. Rick Brash from Calgary. Rick, how are you doing this morning?
Craig, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I was trying to even give you a bigger intro than that, but I didn't want to make you blush.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. You know, usually I'm just in the corner listening away, but today you said something nice about me. Beautiful.
Well, every once in a while. So on the screen in front of you, you're going to see the universal callback script. If you can just scroll down a little bit there, Andrew, I want to show everybody that there's a seller side to this and a buyer side to this. So if the prospect responds to a buyer campaign, you're going to go down the left side of the script, okay? And if the seller responds to, if the prospect responds to a seller campaign, you're going to go down the right side. So, oh yeah, it says that, buyer follow-up and seller follow-up. Okay, so the introduction makes sense, right? The reason I'm calling is you need to explain to the prospect very quickly why, who you are, and why you're calling them, because that's what everyone's thinking when they answer the phone, right? Who the hell is this and why are they bothering me? So we're answering that question right away. Okay, and you're making it very clear to the prospect that the only reason you're contacting them is because they started this. They made a request on their own volition, okay? And you're making it very clear during that introduction. Hi, Rick. It's Craig here from ABC Realty, and the reason I'm contacting you is in regards to your request, because I received your request for the whatever, and it doesn't matter. Too many of you get caught up on talking about the special report, the list of properties. Look, that's not really why we're calling. The real reason we're calling the prospect back is so we can segue into these probing questions that Andrea is going to highlight right now, because we want to establish the motivation and timing of the prospect. Now, I know that many of you have spent a long time on the phone with some prospects. You might spend 20 minutes, a half an hour on the phone with a prospect. You might know a lot about them. You might know the name of their children. You might know what they do for a living. You might know the name of their dog. But if you don't know their motivation and timing, that phone call was a fail. It was a waste of your time. When you start to generate as many leads as we suggest you're going to be generating with this system, you don't have 15 or 20 minutes to spend on the phone with each prospect. So the name of the game here is we want to get on and off the phone as quickly as possible, slotting the prospects into one of three categories. You're either going to establish, because of the way they answer your questions, you're going to establish whether they're a ready-to-act buyer or seller. And if they're motivated to do something now, their timing's now, and they're motivated, you're going to make an offer to them. And you'll see that we have a buy first offer and a sell first offer. Okay, you're going to become really, really good at identifying the motivated prospects. You're also going to become very, very good at articulating a universal offer to buyers and sellers. A universal offer is something that every buyer and seller wants. If they're a motivated buyer and seller, they're going to want what you offer. They're going to want it so badly that they're going to be willing to meet with you. Remember, we can't make a buyer or seller meet with you. We can only compel them to want to do so. Now, let's go back to these probing questions. I know many of you have been taught through other coaching programs. You've been taught by coaches that don't actually sell real estate, or coaches that haven't sold real estate in 20 or 30 years. And what they have tried to lead you to believe is that somehow if you had magical powers, if you had a silver tongue, that you would be able to motivate buyers and sellers that aren't motivated. And let me tell you, it's just not true. Let me repeat that again. We can't create motivation where motivation does not exist. It's a lie. Okay, it's a myth. The prospects are either motivated or they're not motivated. So the idea behind these probing questions is to quickly determine in a few minutes who's really motivated and who's not. So I said a minute ago that the prospects are going to slip into three categories. Okay, at the end of your conversation, you're going to know whether they're a ready-to-act buyer or seller, and you'll make either the buy first offer or the sell first offer because it's somebody you want to meet with right now. Or what is usually the case is they're not quite ready to buy or sell yet, and you're going to offer to follow up with them, and you might offer the Market Watch newsletter. Andrea is going to highlight the Market Watch newsletter. Or how about this? Have you ever talked to somebody that's just not motivated? Okay, or their timing, or maybe they're motivated, but their timing's way off in the future. Rick, have you ever talked to somebody that says, hey, Rick, absolutely, we're going to be selling, we're moving from Calgary to Toronto, we're moving with our company, but it's not going to happen for 2 years?
Yes, I've had that conversation with people, you bet.
Okay, so no matter how good you are on the phone, if they've got a real reason why they can't move for 2 years, because it's a company move from Calgary to Toronto, it doesn't matter how silver your tongue is. It doesn't matter how good you are. They're just not, they have a real reason why they're not going to move. So not yet. They're going to do it, but not yet. So we want to follow up with these prospects. So we're going to talk about all of this today. Now, Rick and I believe that the best way to teach you this is to lead by example and to do role playing with you, to help you understand how to handle the objections and understand how to feel very comfortable with the script. Now, at first, it seems a little bit weird because these are not your words, these are Craig's words, and you're reading it, right? At the beginning, you're reading it. But Rick and I, we'd rather you read it and get it right than winging it.
Well, hey, guess what happens? When you start, the first thing that happens in this process is you come to believe that this is the best thing to do. Now, sometimes we've learned over the years that you're the most difficult person for us to convince. So start this process of learning the universal follow-up script by reading it. Now, what happens as you go through this process of learning is you now get to the point you're memorizing the script. Now, once it's memorized and it's taken a position in your brain, you now have internalized it. Okay, and James McDonald talks about this all the time. You've internalized the conversation. You begin to think ahead and understand what the objections are going to be. Then you very quickly get to the point of mastery. But it all starts with you agreeing and convincing yourself that this is the conversation to have. This is the theme. These are the questions. This is the information that you want to know about. So start, as Craig says, by learning to simply read the words on the page. That's how I started. That's how all of our most successful members have started.
Okay, I think what James says is this, is we start off by becoming conscious incompetence.
Correct.
Okay, so you're kind of incompetent with this script, but at least you're conscious of that. Okay, what's the next level then? The next level is you become competent. You become consciously competent, and then you become an unconscious competent. That means you're so competent, you're so good with this, but you're not really even thinking about it. It just comes naturally to you.
Right.
So we're going to take some volunteers who, on our webinar, would like to role play with Rick and I. If you'd like to role play, you just type your name in the chat. Now, you've got to make sure that you've got a microphone that works. So you can either be on a computer mic or you could be on, you could dial in with the telephone. Your choice. I see we have one volunteer already. We've got Eve. Andrea, do you see Eve?
I do.
She says she'd like to role play, so let's start with Eve.
I'm pulling up your telephone line now. You're open.
Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Eve. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Now, what kind of prospect would you like to be, a buyer or a seller?
Seller, and this is a follow-up for people who are thinking about selling in the beginning of spring, 2006, but 16, but they did not indicate if it's going to be the immediate springtime or more towards May.
Okay, so I'm sorry, you want me to be the buyer and you're going to play you, correct?
Yes, seller.
Seller, okay. All right, so I'm the seller, and I'm sort of elusive as to my timing, and you're calling me, ring, ring, and I answer, and I say, hello.
Hi, Craig. This is Eva calling from REMAX. We had spoken a couple months ago regarding your moving plans, and I wanted to touch base with you again and see if that's still in place.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking about it.
Okay. Now, last time we spoke, you said you're thinking about moving in the spring. Is that still the plan, or has anything changed?
Yeah, we're still thinking next year at some point. Maybe the spring or summer.
Gotcha. Now, have you guys thought more about whether to buy or sell first?
I don't know. What do you think we should do?
Well, it's really depending on your comfort level. Would you prefer to have a for sale sign on your property before you start looking at houses, or do you want to find a place before you put a for sale sign on your property?
Let's stop for a minute. That was very good, by the way. Did everyone catch that? When Eve asked me if I'm a buy first or a sell first guy, I said, I don't know, what do you think? Or sometimes I'll say, well, I guess I'd have to do both at the same time. All that means is the prospect didn't understand the question. So Eve goes back into more detail, and she says, well, would you rather have, the for sale sign on your property before you run out looking at homes, or would you rather find a home before you put the for sale sign up? Okay, so let's say I answer that question, Eve, with, well, I'd really prefer to look around and find a house before I put a for sale sign on my lawn.
Okay, gotcha. Now, Craig, do you have a realtor to help you with the purchase when the time is right?
Well, we have a realtor who's been sending us some information on the homes.
Okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies as well?
Well, I think that's what the agent's doing, right? They're sending me all the houses.
Craig, I don't know what the other agent is sending you, but my list include any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, other distressed sales, properties that have yet to come on the market, and pocket listings. Would that interest you?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to have those.
Okay, great. Now, when can we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? Would days or evenings be better?
Well, I can tell you what I'm looking for right now. We want everything between this price range and that price range in the northeast part of town.
Craig, I really want to do a good job for you. Rather than emailing you hundreds of homes that may or may not match your buying criteria or risk missing out on the perfect one, if we could get together for about 20 minutes, I have a form that I fill out and I can take down exactly what you're looking for. And it's a free service. You're never obligated to buy a home. So would days or evenings be better for you?
Could we, well, look, I would have to talk to my wife and find out when would be a good time to meet. So I've got your contact information. Why don't I call you once I speak to my wife?
Okay, that's always a great idea to also include your wife in our meeting. Why don't we do this? Since I have you on the phone, let's set a tentative time, and you can speak with your wife about the time. And if that doesn't work out for her, then we can try to reschedule. Would that work?
Sure.
Okay. Now, are you both more free during the week or the weekend?
Probably during the week is better.
Okay, during the week. Now, would you guys prefer days or evenings?
I guess we'd prefer evenings.
Evenings? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for this week, I have Thursday evening or Friday evening available. Which day do you think it's better for you and your wife?
Let me ask you, when we get together with you, do we have to sign something?
No, absolutely not. You don't have to sign anything. And the meeting is going to help you better, help me to better understand what you're looking for in your buying criteria. And I will have a list of properties that may have already matched what you're looking for. And those are hard to come by deals that you don't see on the market nowadays.
Okay, well, I was just wondering, the agent that's sending us listings is my brother-in-law, so I just wonder how obligated we would be.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is
okay. What question did you forget to ask me?
Well, I said, do you have a realtor to help you? Oh, I forgot to ask if you are 100% committed to working with a realtor.
Right. I said I have a realtor sending me listings. Mm-hmm. And then your focus was on how your listings were different than mine, but right. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if you asked me, if I have an agent and if I'm committed to the agent.
No.
Okay, so that's just something to watch out for, because you could set a meeting and then what if you find out that I'm absolutely committed? It's my brother-in-law or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah, it's happened to me where when I make my follow-up calls, and then the prospect would tell me, well, my mother's best friend is the realtor. I'm like, darn it. So, yeah, I have to watch out for that.
Okay, let me throw another one at you. Okay, Eve. So when we meet, you said we don't have to sign anything. What commission do you charge?
That's a great question. Craig, I haven't seen the house, so that is definitely something that we can go over once I have a chance to take a look at your property.
Okay, very good. I think you did a really good job there, Eve.
Thank you.
Rick, what do you think?
Places to work on.
Okay, so here's what I like.
Yeah.
Eve is very articulate, and we're all sitting listening, and we can understand every single word that Eve said. She didn't have an adrenaline rush when Craig agreed to meet with her and then race through the offer, which is something really common when you're learning the script. She stayed the course. She stayed articulate. She continued to heap value on the offer, and that's why Craig was interested. Even though his brother-in-law is going to do the deal, Craig was interested because she painted a very good value picture of what she's offering Craig and his wife. I think Eve did an excellent job, Craig.
Yeah, and Eve, the other thing I've noticed is you have made a lot of progress since you've started to volunteer, and no, you have. You're getting better and better at it. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Craig.
Okay, the next I'm in the chat box here now. Rick, you're going to like this. Here's a note from Ellen Levy, and Ellen says, Rick has commanded me to volunteer. So, well, we better take Ellen as our next role play.
Yeah.
Your line is open.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Ellen. How you doing?
I'm okay, and the lawn guy has just started to do my lawn, so I hope you're not going to be drowned out by the sound of a power mower.
No problem. In Toronto, they stopped cutting grass here a month ago, so the grass is all dead.
Well, I think he's kind of mulching the leaves. There's not either that or he's just trying to get himself one more paycheck.
One more paycheck, probably. Okay, so Rick, I kind of chuckled when I saw this. Rick has commanded me to volunteer.
Yep.
So
I said he has commanded me to put my head on the guillotine. Is what
okay, so here's what we're going to do, Ellen. So you and I have role-played a few times. It's time for you to role-play with Craig, and I'm going to critique it. So take it away, Craig.
All right, so Ellen, what kind of prospect would you like me to be, a buyer or a seller?
Seller, but I have a question for you. A couple of leads that I got seem interesting, but it was on a hotline, AMS hotline script, and they both specified option 2, which is people who say that they're not going to be selling, for 6 months or more. Now, 6 months from now is the spring market, and they're in a good area, and I thought that they would be worth following up on. Do you disagree with that logic?
Well, no. I want you folks to call all the leads. Now, sometimes the prospect will specify report number 2 just to try to shake us off, right? So
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so sometimes they'll purposely ask for report number 2. They sort of understand what we're trying to to do here. But you want to call all the leads. But if they do ask for report number 1, those are the first leads I'm going to call back. So the report number 1, report number 2 technique was never designed for the purpose of you folks ignoring the number 2s. I just wanted to help you understand which leads you should call back first. Definitely if they specify report number 1, I want to call those ones back first, but that doesn't mean that the report number 2 should not be followed up. So you're going to use the exact same script, and that's the purpose, right, of the script, is to determine the true motivation and timing. So I'm sorry, am I a buyer or a seller?
You're a seller. And
okay.
You specified number 2.
And what campaign did I respond to?
I think home seller mistakes to avoid.
Okay, so this was an editorial ad. The headline was how to avoid these costly home seller mistakes when selling your home. So Ellen's going to call me back or call me and ring, and I say hello.
Hi, Mr. Proctor. This is Ellen Levy with Remax Allegiance. I just got back from California visiting my new grandbaby, and I heard your message, and I would like to send you the brochure that you requested. Would that be all right?
Okay, let's stop there. How was visiting the grandbaby in California relevant?
Because he left a message a week or more ago, and I didn't get back to him until I just got back.
Okay, so understand that is in your head.
Okay.
Okay, you're feeling that the prospect even recognizes that it's been a bit of time between when they made the request and you following up. You have to understand, when the prospect responded to what appeared to be a news article in your local paper, they didn't even believe or think in any way that a real estate salesperson was going to call them. So don't even think that you're too late in calling them back, because they weren't expecting a phone call at all. It's not like a call at your office, right, where someone called your Remax office off of an ad call or a sign call and said, yeah, could you have Ellen call me? I'm calling about our listing on Maple Street, and you took a week to get back. They were expecting you to call them back in that situation. So you don't need to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so just get right into the script, because it makes me feel almost like you're apologizing, like there was some reason why you didn't get back to me. You don't need to apologize.
Thank
right?
you.
And that's, this is good information for all of you to know, because many of you fall behind with your follow-up calls, right? You may be calling somebody that you haven't been able to reach for a week or two. Just follow the script. You don't need to apologize for taking a week or two to reach them. You just need to say the reason I'm calling. So let's start over again.
Okay.
Ring, and I say hello.
Hi, Mr. Proctor. This is Ellen Levy with Remax Allegiance. The reason I'm calling is that I received your request for your brochure on home seller mistakes to avoid, and I've popped it in the mail to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
By the way, I didn't know that was coming from a real estate agent.
Oh, well, this is just one of the many free services that we provide. You specified option 2, indicating that you're not planning to make a move for, say, the next 6 months. 6 months from now puts you right in the best time of the spring market. Are you thinking of putting your home on the market in the spring?
Okay, let's stop. Ellen, you're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, so don't reference to them, report number 1, report number 2. Remember, this is a little trick that you and I are using to get them to tell us their motivation. But I wouldn't confront that issue. I would just go right through the script and let them tell you when they're really planning on moving. Because right now, I feel like you're telling me.
Huh? Are you just a second? If he said option 2, do I follow the script that says, are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Because he pressed the option that said he was 6 months or more.
Right. Ellen, you're overthinking it. Here's what we want you to do first of all. Before we give you any editorial freedom with this conversation, we want you to learn that script the way it's written. So just work your way through it with the words that are on the page, and you'll actually see in the conversation how all this comes together, despite the fact he asked for report number 2.
Okay, better yet, I'm going to say it this way. Ellen, forget what you think you know about this guy's motivation. Just forget that you know he requested report number 2. Because what if when you ask me if when I think I might be making a move, what if I said I'm moving in 2 weeks?
Okay. So forget that he said option 2 and just do the, are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
The option 1, option 2 is just a hint for all of you as to who you should call back. I designed it that way because when you start to generate, have you ever had this happen, Ellen, where you generate so many leads from my system, it's, over the weekend all these leads came in, and on a Monday morning you're thinking, holy cow, who do I start with here? I've got 40 leads, I can't call them all today. I know, I'll start with the number 1s. That language, though, never goes into the script. Just use that information as a hint as to who you're going to call back first, the report number 1, report number 2. But you're not articulating that in any way during the script. You're asking them to tell you their true motivation and timing. How about this? What if I made a mistake and I requested report number 2 and I really wanted to request report number 1? What if I messed that up on the message? So there's nothing better than just hearing directly from the prospect. That's why we're asking the questions. I kind of feel like you're telling me now when I'm moving, based on this report number 1, report number 2. That's not why it was designed. It wasn't designed to help you really fine-tune their motivation and timing. It was simply designed to give you a heads up as to who you may want to call back first.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's do this again from the very top. But okay, here's what I want you to do. I just want you to read the script exactly how it's laid out.
I think I can do that.
Okay, so let's do. And sometimes it's hard because we're entrepreneurial, right? We want to make it better, but let's just read the script. So ring, ring, and I say hello.
Hi, Mr. Proctor. This is Ellen Levy with Remax Allegiance, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for the brochure on home seller mistakes to avoid, and I've popped it in the mail to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, we are. We're thinking about maybe in the spring.
Okay. If you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
Yeah, we want to stay. We're probably going to move about a half an hour closer to my work.
Oh, great. And when do you think that might be? When would you like it to be?
Well, I would like to do it. I'd like to get the house up for sale in the spring so we can move during the summer so we don't have to interrupt the kids' school year.
Makes sense to me. Do you have a realtor to help you with that when the time is right?
You know, the only realtor that we know is the guy that sold us the house, and he sends us a calendar every year.
Okay. Well, there is quite a difference in real estate agents, and I would like to meet with you and tell you what we specifically can offer you. Would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell?
Okay, let's stop there. Why are you talking about meeting with them at this point? Because you haven't articulated any benefit.
Okay.
Does it say that in the script? Does it say, I'd like to meet with you?
Nope. Okay,
so see, even when I'm holding your feet to the fire and I'm saying, Ellen, please, I pray to you, just read the script. If you just will read the script, this will work. You're tempted to go, to go off the reserve here. So let's just keep going. We're down to number 5 now.
Okay. Okay. Would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
I think we'd like to look around before we put our home up for sale.
Okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or other distress sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Okay, now you said the right words, but I think all of us will agree, yeah, we can tell you're reading. So let's do that over again. But I want you to, be a little bit more excited about this.
Okay.
There's an old saying that the first sale that every salesperson must make is to themselves. In other words, if you don't sound excited about this, it's hard to get anyone else excited about this. So try that offer again, but be a little bit more passionate.
Okay. Mr. Proctor, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, other distressed sales, maybe even properties that are not yet on the market that we would know about. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to get all that information.
Okay. When can we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Well, I can tell you right now, Ellen, I'm looking over in such and such a town, and I go as far south as over there and as far north as this part, and I'm looking for a 2-story, 4-bedroom with a double-car garage between this price range and that price range.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are still going to be a number of differences in the homes that are going to fit within your broad outline. Rather than email you hundreds of homes which may or may not match your exact criteria, or worse, risk missing out on the perfect one, if we could get together for about 20 minutes, I have a form I can fill out that I can take down precisely what you're looking for and then just email you the ones that may be of interest. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that sounds good, but I'll have to check my work schedule and get back to you.
Okay, why don't we set up a tentative appointment? If you're going to check your work schedule, would a weekend appointment be convenient? Maybe Saturday after lunch?
Yeah, I guess I could make that work.
Sounds good. How about 2:30?
Sure, 2:30.
Great. I will email you my office address, and I will look forward to meeting you Saturday at 2:30.
Perfect. Okay, so that was very good. So I think the point we want to make here, Ellen, is do you know that if you actually just stick to the script, you're really good? When you get into trouble is when you veer from this. Because you've been practicing the script, but when you go off the roadmap here, you haven't practiced that. So then you're into dangerous territory because now you're kind of winging it.
Okay.
And if we can just keep you on the script here, you will get the result that you want, and you'll get it faster than taking all these detours.
Okay, great. I think my husband is taking notes. He's probably been trying to keep me on various scripts for years. So if you can succeed, that would be wonderful.
Well, that's it. And I know you're all tempted to add your own flair and go in different directions. Plus, on top of your temptation to do that, what about the clients, the prospects? They also try to take you off the script, right? So let me give you an example. Ellen, when you said to me, Craig, do you want to stay in the area or move out of the area? What if I said, well, Ellen, where do you live? How are you going to handle that?
I live in the area.
Oh, yeah. Well, how long you've lived here for?
Okay.
Okay, so here's how you handle that. You want to answer the prospect's question, but then immediately ask them the next question in the script. You always want to be bringing the prospect back to the script. Every once in a while, we get on the phone with a chatty prospect, and it's almost like they think their job's to, keep us off of the script. So I would answer the question, their question, and quickly go right back to the script and ask them the next question. Remember, the person that asks the questions controls the conversation. And of course, we want to be in control, not have the prospect be in control, because as soon as the prospect's in control, now you've got a 10 or 15-minute phone call on your hand.
That's called letting the cat out of the bag, right, Craig? And getting the cat back in is really hard.
All right, Ellen, I think you did a great job here. Keep practicing, and I'm glad Rick got you to volunteer today.
I am too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to go to Michelle London. Michelle says she's on the phone and she's happy to volunteer.
Good morning, Craig.
Hi, Michelle. How are things going with you?
They're going well, thank you.
Now, would you like me to be a buyer or seller prospect?
I'd like you to be a buyer, please, and please try and throw as many curves as you can.
Let me interrupt
Okay.
really quickly regarding the audio issue we're encountering. Michelle, I know you're on the phone, but you're still logged in as you're on your computer, and we can hear you from both. And it's causing a backfeed, so can you mute your computer or just hang up your phone and walk back to your computer?
Okay.
I think if you just turn your speakers down. Is there anybody on our webinar that actually likes the sound of their own voice?
Michelle, are you
Okay,
still with
I'm
us?
gonna hang up now.
Okay.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, I think you fixed it.
Great.
All right, so sorry, did you say you wanted me to be a buyer? You wanted me to be a buyer, correct?
Yes, please be a buyer, and also, would you please try and throw as many curves as you can?
You know, I love it when our members invite me to be a tough buyer, so that's exactly who I'm going to be, Michelle. Ring, ring, and I say hello.
Hello, may I speak to Mr. Craig Proctor?
This is his wife. Who's this calling my? Who's this female calling my husband?
No, I'm not just a female. I'm a realtor. This is Michelle London with Keller Williams calling.
Okay.
And the reason I called is because your husband asked for information on foreclosures and distress sales. So may I please speak with him?
He's not home. I mean, I know we've been talking about our moving plans, but I didn't know he contacted a realtor.
Well, he did request information on foreclosures and distress sales. I know you didn't think a realtor was going to call you back, but...
Well, I wouldn't say, Michelle, I wouldn't go there because you're putting words in their mouth.
Oh, okay.
Don't remind them of that.
Okay.
You know, don't remind them that you kind of tricked them into responding because they didn't think the information was coming from a realtor. We don't want to do that. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, Michelle. Either the wife is going to play ball with you, and you're going to be able to go through the universal callback script with the wife, which, by the way, is sometimes even better than talking to the person that actually requested the information. Or the wife may say to you, look, Michelle, as soon as you start asking the questions in the script, the wife could say, look, Michelle, I don't know anything about this. Since it was my husband that requested the information, I think it's best that you speak with him. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then you should say, well, great. How do I reach your husband?
Right.
And you want to get the work phone number, cell number. Okay, so let's say in this example, though, the wife is going to play ball and she'll answer your question. So let's continue.
Okay, well, this is Michelle London with Keller Williams. The reason I'm calling is because I received a request for information on foreclosures and distress sales, and I have popped it in the mail. Is that okay?
Yeah, I know my husband and I have been talking about making a move. I didn't know he contacted a realtor, but yeah, thank you. That's great.
Well, I'm wondering, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We are. We're thinking of staying in the area and maybe doing something in the spring.
Oh, excellent. Well, do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
We rent.
I see. Excellent. Excellent. That's good. Well, are you planning on staying in the area or are you going to move out of the area?
Well, I said we want to stay in the area.
Excellent. Excellent. So
okay, by the way, you know how you're saying excellent, excellent?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. That's a habit. And who says stuff like that? Telemarketers sound like that.
The Keller Williams script says that.
Yeah, I know, and that's why.
Say good and
yes.
excellent and great. And
yep, yep. Fantastic, great, fantastic.
Okay.
And
hey, Michelle, can I tell you a funny story? Early in my career, I was taught to say the same things. So I'm talking to this older guy, and I said to him, I said, if you were to move, when do you think that might be? And he said to me, I won't be moving until they carry me out of this house in a box. And I said, excellent. Because that's what they teach you to say. It doesn't make sense to say, like, we're taught to, like, it sounds like you're not even listening to the prospect, right? That's how telemarketers are trained to. Excellent, wonderful, you know, we want to have a real conversation. You do not want to sound
insincere.
like, yeah, I mean, excellent, fantastic, wow. No,
Yeah.
that's just not how people talk.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Okay, so anyway, I said I want to stay in the area, Michelle, and I rent, so you know that. I rent, and that my husband and I have been talking about moving. So we're now on question 3. I want to stay local, so we're now on question 4.
Yes, if you were to make a move, when do you think that might be?
Okay, so we're thinking spring because we don't want to pull the kids out of school.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you have a realtor to help you with that when the time is right?
We do. I have a friend who's in real estate. She's part-time, and you know, she could really use my business.
Well, I can understand that. You know, there's friendship and there's business. I mean, you absolutely committed to your friends?
Well, you know, we're friends, and I told her that I would give her a chance at this.
Craig, what's the best way to handle this?
Okay, so what you want to say is this. Michelle, you know, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and what they do and how much they charge to get the job done. Do you think you might be open to meeting with me so I could show you how much extra I do to get your home sold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
now, if they say absolutely not, you know, I'm 100% committed. Well, you just want to get off the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But if they pause, right? You're not saying don't interview your friend. You're just stating the obvious. What you're saying is the truth. Well, there is a tremendous difference between real estate agents, what they do for you, and how much they charge to get the job done. Do you think you might be open to meeting with me as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say I say, yeah, I guess so. I might be open to meeting with you.
Yes. Well, when would be a good time for you? Are days or evenings typically better?
I guess probably days.
Okay, well, we have the weekend coming up. I'm wondering, do you have a significant other that you would like to meet with us?
Well, yeah, it's my husband's the one that had contacted you, obviously.
Okay, that's right. Right. Okay, well, we have the weekend coming up. I'm wondering if tomorrow afternoon would be okay, Friday afternoon.
Michelle, did you ask me whether I want to buy first or sell first?
No, you're renting.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you're right. Guess I can't sell that. Okay, you're right. So I made it easy. I made it easy for you. Okay. Note to self: don't make it easy for Michelle next time. Okay. Okay. Right. So I'm only a buyer. Okay. So what offer did you make me?
Oh, would Friday afternoon be okay?
And sorry, what are we going to do on Friday afternoon, Michelle?
We're going to meet and we're going to discuss the differences between what I do and what other agents might do. I do more to get the job done for you.
Okay, so now that's a mistake. Because what you believe is this buyer, because I don't have a house to sell, you believe that what I'm interested in is in knowing what you as an agent do. So let me ask you this, because I know you know better. What is it that buyers want?
Buyers want a good deal.
Right, on what? What do they want a good deal on?
They want to get a property that has exactly the specifications and criteria that they
Right, so let's write this down. I want everyone to write this down. Buyers want houses. They don't want a real estate agent. Buyers want houses. So when I answered your questions to your liking, and you felt, well, Craig is someone, or this lady is someone that I want to meet with, you should have made the buyer offer. But you invented your own offer. Your offer was, well, when can we get together so to talk about me and talk about why, like, I'm the agent you should use.
That's right.
What you should have done is you should go in the bottom left-hand corner, and you should say, well, look, Mrs. Whoever you are, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria? That's the universal offer. You see, we believe, as realtors, we believe they want us. But they really don't. What they want is you're going to catch more buyers by casting a wider net. I'm not saying that there's 0 buyers that would be interested in meeting with you, but I'm saying there's a ton more buyers that would be interested in the offer that you're now about to make me. So let's have you make that offer to me.
And where do you slip that in before you ask them if they have a real?
Well, let's look at where we are in the script here, Michelle. Here's what you know about me so far. Okay, you know that my husband made the request. You called back. Husband wasn't there, and you're talking to me, the wife. You asked me if I rent or own. I say I rent. Do I want to stay in the area or move out? I said I want to stay in the area. When might that be? The spring, because I don't want to pull the kids out of school. You asked me if I had a realtor, and this is what threw you off. I said I have a friend that's a realtor, but you nicely handled it, and you said, well, you know, Mrs. Proctor, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and what they do and how much they charge to get the job done. Do you think you might be open to meeting with me? Okay, and the only reason you're going there is you want to know the commitment level, because if they say, oh, no, we're 100% committed to my friend, then you wouldn't go make the offer, because what's the use? But now that this buyer you've given them some pause, now you want to make this offer, right? Because they're basically saying, well, I guess we would be open to meeting with you, meaning they're not 100% committed to the friend. Now I want you to go right to the buy first offer. You want to meet with me.
After you've determined when they'll meet with you, or?
Yeah, as soon as you ask me, do you have a realtor to help when the time is right? And I said I have a friend. What did you say?
I said there's a tremendous difference between what realtors do and how much they charge to get the job done.
Well, first of all, I think you said, are you 100% committed to that realtor?
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I said no, you don't need to say the next part. If I said, well, yeah, I'm pretty committed, then you might want to say, well, you know, Mrs. Proctor, there's a tremendous difference between realtors and what they do and how much they charge to get the job done. Do you think you might be open to speaking to other realtors as well? Then that's when you go right into the offer. And by the way, so I'm going to say this to you, Michelle, and by the way, Michelle, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria from all the different real estate companies? My list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distress sales, and it's a free service. You're never obligated to buy a home. Michelle, do you think that might interest you?
Well, yes, I think it would interest me.
Correct. Way more. That would interest the buyer way more than meeting with some real estate agent with no benefit attached. Mm-hmm. Your offer a few minutes ago is, wouldn't you like to meet the great Michelle? Because I'm a great person. I'm a great realtor, right? But what was, you know, your benefit was like, I could show you, like, if you met with me, I could show you how great I am. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you think works better? That, or saying to the buyer, we could email you daily updates of all the, you know, distress sales and bank foreclosures and company-owned properties. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to do anything at all. Michelle, do you think that would be of interest?
Yes, I think that would be a tremendous.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. You're not making an offer of any kind until you establish in your mind that this is a prospect that's motivated and their timing's now. Well, guess what? You did a really good job of that. You know that Mrs. Proctor is motivated. You know she's renting. She wants to buy. She wants to buy something here in the spring. She wants to stay in the area because she doesn't want her kids being pulled out of school. She has a friend in real estate, but she's not 100% committed. So now I would be thinking, if I was you, gee, here's a prospect I'd like to meet with. Since they don't have a house to sell, I'm not going to go to the sell offer. I'm going to go to the buy offer. And the ultimate offer that I want to make any buyer is this, because I want to get together. Don't try to sell your services over the phone. Articulate this universal offer to get the meeting. Now, Michelle, I know you're really good. When you get face-to-face with me, that's when you're going to sell me on you. But we don't want to do it too early. Let's get face-to-face first. Let's accomplish that by making an offer that every buyer wants. And the offer that every buyer wants is not, meeting with you. It's all about the houses.
Correct.
So was I tough enough?
Yeah, that was exceptionally good. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's keep doing this, Michelle. Every week, we'll keep doing this, and you'll get to listen to other people. But this is how we get better and better. It's just, I want to raise your consciousness and get everyone to really understand what we're trying to accomplish here and how the script really does accomplish this, regardless of the prospect we're speaking to or their situation. All right, let's go back and I'm going to see if there's any chat questions here. First of all. There are a few, and then we'll take a few more role plays. Okay, here's one from Marcia Kim. I was wondering how to handle a call when the prospect answers the phone and you start into the script, but there's so much noise in the background that it's not only distracting to the prospect, but also to me. Maybe a baby screaming or some kind of noise in the background. Do you keep plowing through? Yeah, that is difficult. I agree, Marcia. That is difficult. I guess it would depend on the level of background noise. If we can't have a conversation, I might suggest that I might say, it sounds like, you got a lot going on in the background. Maybe I should give you a call back at a later time. So you're going to have to use your own discretion on that. Rick, anything that you have to add to that?
That's a tough one. Thank goodness it doesn't happen very often, but I don't know how far you'll get when the person you're talking to is completely distracted, with the example of the baby, for example. The baby's in the mother's arms. It's screaming for its lunch. You're trying to have a conversation with mom. It's essentially impossible to get anywhere. I'd say, look, you sound really tied up. I'll call you back in 45 minutes. That's what I've done in the past, Craig.
Okay, Dave Boyer, he really liked, he thought that was pretty funny when I was talking about that conversation I had with that elderly gentleman earlier in my career when I said, if you were to move, when do you think that might be? And the older gentleman said, I'm not leaving this house until they carry me out of here in a box. And I responded with, well, when do you think that might be?
That's hilarious.
James McDonald talks about this. I think initially, that you folks are so focused on the questions that you ask. You're so focused on what you're saying that sometimes we don't fully listen to what the prospect's saying. And can I remind everybody that the only purpose in us asking the questions is because we really do want to hear the answers. Because it's how they answer the questions that's going to enable all of you to establish the true motivation and timing of the prospect. Do you understand that prospects are not very good liars? If you take a look at the script, question 1 and 3 are pretty much the same question. Okay, let's look at the seller side. Take the seller side. Question number 1, Rick, is I would say, well, Rick, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? And then I come back with, if you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area? Then I come right back with pretty much the same question in question 3. And if you were to move, when do you think that might be? Now, the reason question 3 and question 1 are purposely the same is because what I determined is quite often you get a different answer. Doesn't that seem kind of amazing to you? So question 1, I say, well, Rick, if you folks were planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, are you folks planning on making a move in the next three to 6 months? Rick, what's your answer to that?
We're kicking the idea around. It's a possibility.
And now I go to question 2. And Rick, if you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
Well, as long as I can still walk to the train station, Craig, that's sort of our buying criteria.
And if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
Well, probably as soon as it warms up. We certainly wouldn't do it in the winter, so I'd say we'd probably do this in March or April.
Okay, so the timing issue is so important. That's why question 1 and 3 are essentially the same, because I want to be really, really sure, and so do all of you, of the timing of these prospects. Now, every once in a while, and frankly, I'm surprised it didn't happen more often, every once in a while, I'd talk to a smart prospect that would say, well, you just asked me that. But it's not very often. Not very often.
Yeah.
In all the years I've been using this script, not very often did I have a prospect that was sharp enough to understand that I'd pretty much just asked him question 3 just a minute ago. But what I did do is I made a lot of money by asking the question number 3, even though I'd already asked pretty much the same question in question 1, and getting a little bit different answer or getting a more specific answer, because I'm going back to that very important question is, when do you think that might be? Now, if you were to move, when do you think that might be? And the way it's worded is, it's very non-threatening. I'm not saying you're going to move, Rick. I'm just saying, if you were to move, when do you think that might be? If you were to move, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right? If you were to move, would you prefer to buy first or sell first? Let's go down to Jordan Tanner's chat question. Jordan's asking, can you please review how to get buyer prospects to agree to having my mortgage broker call them for a free, quick, over-the-phone consultation? Okay, so for those of you that are fairly new with us, what Jordan Tanner is referring to is once we have a buyer appointment booked, there's extra language that we can add, now the appointment's been booked, to help us financially qualify the prospect. So this leads us to a discussion on, well, who should I be booking an appointment with? Well, I suggest that you book an appointment with every buyer that you can book an appointment with, as long as you feel that they're motivated and their timing is now. And then you can get rid of any buyers that are not financially qualified. Now, this is, again, the opposite of what they teach us, right? Old school teaches us this. If Rick's my buyer and it's an ad call or a sign call, here's what I was taught. So, Rick, what's your combined family income? What's your credit history like? Are you self-employed? You work for someone else? Well, these are pretty intrusive questions to ask some buyer that you just met 5 seconds ago. So
yeah, very intimidating. Yeah.
Right, intimidating. So look, I believe you get more bees with honey. So we're not going to ask those intrusive qualifying questions until after we have the appointment booked. So let's say that I go through the script with Rick, I ask him all the questions on the buyer side, and I determine, hey, Rick's the kind of buyer I'd like to meet with. He's motivated, his timing's now, and we have an appointment set at my office for tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Before I hang up the phone, I say to Rick, so Rick, by the way, have you been pre-qualified for financing?
Not really sure what that means.
Have you talked to a lender and got some kind of written confirmation on what price range that you would be in? Because let me tell you why this would help, Rick. When we get together tomorrow at my office, if we knew exactly what price range you were in, we wouldn't waste time looking at homes above or below your price range.
Right.
If you're going to be home for a little bit this evening, I can have my lender Bill give you a call. He can ask you a couple of questions about your finances, and he could pre-qualify you over the phone. So when we get together tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I would know exactly what price range you're in. Also, Rick, my lender Bill has access to special low interest rate home loans and low down payment home loans. So would it be okay if I had my lender, Bill, give you a call this evening?
Yeah, sure. That would be good.
So I hang up with Rick, and I call my lender, Bill. Now, Bill, okay, he calls Rick back, and he says, he qualifies Rick, asks him a bunch of questions, and then Bill calls me back, and he says, look, either Rick is good to go, he's got good income, good credit history, good job stability, or my lender, Bill, might call me and say, hey, you know what, you probably don't want to meet with Rick. He doesn't actually make $50,000, he makes $30,000 a year, and he lives at home with his mom. And, he was bankrupt 2 years ago. So how do I get rid of this appointment now? It's pretty easy, right? I call Rick back and I say, hey, Rick, look, my lender Bill just called. I understand he was talking to you, and it sounds like you've got some credit issues right now. So what I think we should do is we should postpone the appointment for tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And I understand Bill's placed you on a 6-month program here where we can, fix your credit and get you in a position where you can buy. So we should postpone our appointment until then. So what have I done? My mindset is it's easier to use the script without asking all those intrusive, horrible questions that they teach us to ask. Let's get the appointment first.
Right.
Then have your lender call the buyer. It's easy to get rid of appointments you don't want. So let's get all the appointments we can. Let's get more bees with honey. Use the script. We've got this universal benefit. Okay, this offer that's amazing that all buyers want, right? The free list of homes. They all want the list of homes, the distress sales. It's free of charge. You're under no obligation. They all want that. So let's go with our best foot forward. Let's articulate this amazing buyer offer. Get the buyers to opt in and say, yes, I want it. Set the appointment. Then after the appointment's set, and before you hang up the phone, that's when you get into, by the way, if you've been pre-qualified for financing, I'm going to have my lender, Bill, call you. Your lender calls, then they call you back and they say, yeah, this appointment's a good one, or you should probably get rid of it. So, Jordan, that's how you do it.
Another thing to remember here, the reason Craig's language works so well after you've got the appointment is it wasn't just here's this, here's this, here's this, okay? Here's what Craig just did with that little bit of language. It was feature and benefit. Feature and benefit, feature and benefit. If we only highlight the feature, the prospect may not clearly see the benefit of what Craig's describing. So remember, describe the benefit of Craig's offer, and you'll get people agreeing that talking to this mortgage specialist before they meet with you is a really good idea. So really, really important to learn that.
Okay, so Jordan's typed in here, but my prospects on the phone keep refusing my offer to have the lender call them. Well, Jordan, it's because they don't understand the benefit in talking to the lender. So, you've got to make it sound like it's a benefit to them. So, Jordan, if you were my buyer and I said, look, Jordan, are you going to be home for a bit tonight? Because my lender, Bill, I don't know if you've been pre-approved for financing, but he has access to the lowest interest rate home loans and lowest down payment home loans. That means you're going to save money. We'll help you get the best home for the, best possible price, the best financing. And by getting you pre-qualified, we're going to know exactly what price range you're in. The benefit to you, Jordan, is you won't waste time looking at homes above or below your price range. So now what are the benefits? Save money, right? Lowest interest rates, lowest down payment home loans, and I'm not going to waste my time looking at homes above or below my price range. Jordan, we can even give another example. So Jordan, when you're pre-qualified for financing, we're in a pretty hot market right now, and you're working with me and we see a home that you really like and you make an offer, but now there's a competing offer. Because I've got your pre-approval paperwork that I can attach to this offer, if you were the seller, which offer would you pick? Okay, you're going to carry a bigger stick. You're going to be in a better position, in a better position for negotiating because you've been pre-qualified for financing, and perhaps the other buyer that we're competing against has not been. So you've just got to start laying on all the benefits so the prospect understands, like, wow, this is free, and look at all the benefits to spending a few minutes on the phone talking to the lender. Okay, Ira's asking an important question here. Ira's asking, are there any tips to get prospects to answer the damn phone? She didn't say damn, I did. because I want to be dramatic, because you guys are having trouble reaching prospects. Now, I have in my office here, I have 2 inside salespeople, and they're not following up with buyers and sellers. Do you want to know who they follow up with? They follow up with real estate agents like you. So if you go to craigproctor.com, one of the offers I make at craigproctor.com is, would you like a free business consultation? And my inside sales agents at the office, they're supposed to follow up with real estate agents that have requested a free business consultation. So, of course, what they tell me is, Craig, real estate agents never answer the phone. We can't get them to answer. All we get is voicemail. And if we leave a message, the real estate agents never call us back. So guess what I did? Over the last couple days, I have been making the calls to real estate agents that have visited my site and requesting a free business consultation. And quietly, listening on the line, on our conference line, has been my 2 inside sales agents. Because I want to prove a point that this doesn't happen on my watch. When I'm calling back the leads, guess what happens? They're answering the phone. When I leave a message, they're calling back. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, that's because Craig's calling. Well, even when I use their names, they're calling back. So here's some of the techniques I use. One of the techniques I use, if I was trying to reach you as a realtor, okay, is I would call your cell phone, because mostly I have your cell phone, and I don't leave a message. I hang up, and I call right back again. That was one of the techniques that I showed my 2 inside sales agents this week is, watch this. The real estate agent goes to voicemail. I call right back again. They pick up the phone. Okay, so that's a technique all of you can use when you're calling a home seller. Call, it goes to voicemail, call right back again. Now the seller's thinking, well, this is important. They pick up the phone. Does it always work? No, but that's one of the techniques that works. Sometimes I dial *67. I think that comes up as unknown name or private caller, right? Sometimes I do that, and it causes the prospect to pick up the phone. Okay, here's one thing for sure I never do. I would never call from the RE/MAX office where it said RE/MAX. I didn't call my prospects at 2 o'clock in the afternoon thinking I'm going to reach all of my prospects in the middle of the day. I set time aside at certain times where I knew I was highly likely to reach my prospect. So how about this? It's a safe assumption that most of the prospects we're going to be speaking to, they're buying or selling real estate. They probably have a job. So you might want to call them in the evenings on the weekends. So I created a perfect week. Every Monday between 7 and 9 o'clock, it was dedicated time. It was booked into my day timer, recurring every Monday between 7 and 9. That's when I returned all my leads from the weekend. Even if I had someone that wanted to list their home, I would try to push that appointment to Tuesday night or Wednesday night or on Sunday because I wanted that 2-hour period every Monday to follow up my leads. Thursday evening, I did the same thing. Saturday morning, I did the same thing. I found that Monday evenings, Thursday evenings, and Saturday mornings were excellent times to reach my prospects. Daniel Pilson is asking, Craig, if the buyer is not 100% committed, how do we make sure the meeting with them will be a commitment as the buyer versus I'm not sure if my friend should be the agent? Okay, I'm probably messing that up. Let's see if Daniel Pilson is with us here. Daniel, if you're here, raise your hand and we'll open your microphone.
Hi.
Hey, Daniel, how you doing?
Great, great.
Okay, so ask me this question.
Right. The question is the idea of a friend or someone related to the potential buyer, and how do we overcome? We set up a meeting, but how do we ensure that we'll overcome that? I mean, I know I'm jumping a little bit, but how do we overcome that? Because even when we present an excellent presentation, they might still say, but remember, it's my friend. So is that something you should keep in the back of your mind, or don't worry about it?
Okay, well, let's be honest. Sometimes you're not going to overcome it. Sometimes, even as good as my listing and buyer presentation was, I could not overcome the best friend thing or it's my Uncle Joe. I couldn't. But the presentation, I can tell you, the better it is, the less you have to worry about their friend or Uncle Joe. Okay, that's the job of the presentation. We have to assume in today's world that most buyers and sellers have some kind of relationship. They've had some kind of contact with other realtors. That's why our presentation has to be full of benefits. We have to have a very good presentation to overcome the competition.
Okay, great. Right. So, okay. So the best, the presentation, as we're saying, our meeting hopefully would overcome that, and hopefully a batting average would be such that you'd have hopefully better than 50-50 chance.
Well, yeah, mine was 90-10. Okay, so let me give you some language. So Daniel, would you like me to handle this for you?
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to give me an objection.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No. Well, I have a friend who's a realtor.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Daniel. If you list your home with me, and things aren't working out, I've given you an unconditional cancellation guarantee. You wouldn't have to think twice about firing me. And then you could list with any other agent. However, if you list with your friend and things aren't going well, I think you would agree that's a very uncomfortable situation that you're now in. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Let me also ask you this, Daniel. All things being equal, if you didn't know your friend, if you didn't have that personal relationship, after listening to my presentation, who do you think can do a better job in marketing your home, me or your friend?
With the guarantee, you.
You know, I talked today, Daniel, about the fact that I have 374 buyers in waiting, that if you decided to list your home with me, the very first thing that I would do is I'd email information on your property out to all the buyers, all 300 buyers in my database that are looking for a home in your neighborhood. Your friend, the realtor, how many buyers did they say they are currently working with?
They didn't mention any.
Okay. So you see where I'm going. I'm trying to create doubt. You see, look at most sellers, they want to make the right decision and choose the realtor they believe is going to do the best job. Sometimes you need to just give them permission to do that, right? To list with you, to do the right thing and list with you. The reason they list with their friends quite often is not because they believe their friend's the best choice. They feel obligated. So I might even say this. Daniel, would it make it easier for you if I called Uncle Joe or I called your friend and I let them know that I was going to be handling this for you?
Yeah, that definitely, that'd be fine.
Right, because that's one of the things they're worried about is, oh my God, now I got to call my friend and tell them I decided to list with Craig. And when I'm talking to your friend, Daniel, what I could say is that the reason that you decided to list with me is I was pretty confident that I might have a buyer already for your house. And in fact, I have over 300 buyers in the area. And so I could, I know that's not a very nice phone call for you to make, but if you wish, I could handle that for you.
Yeah,
would that help you out?
That would make me feel much more comfortable.
Great. Okay. Well, let's get the paperwork taken care of right now, and I'll call your friend when I leave your home here tonight, and I'll take care of that for you.
Okay, great. And just one quick question: have you done this type of conversation with the friend? And I would assume that they're pretty upset they didn't get the listing.
Well, you could even just call the office. Usually, that's how it works, right? And have them, just send out a message or text them, email them. You don't have to actually talk to them. Usually, I just call. Usually, what would happen is I would call the office. Hey, Keller Williams. Hey, is Joe Blowen? No, he's not in. Look, could you give him a message? It's Craig Proctor, and I just want to let him know that I've listed the home at the Smith's house at 123 Goldsmith Avenue, and if you could let him know I'm taking care of that. Any contact directed in the, should be coming to me now.
I see.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so look at that's just something I'm willing to do. I'm just a nice guy. I'm just willing to call the other agent and let them know they don't have to worry about that listing anymore. I'm going to take care of that for them.
Okay, that'd be fine. I don't think I'd be happy if I was the agent, the friend rather. I would.
Well, of course they're not going to happy. Let me tell you what's going to happen here. Okay, the more successful you get, the more the other agents aren't going to like you. So here's what you've got to all decide. What's most important to you? Being the most successful realtor that you can be and doing as well as you can, or are you looking for the love of the other realtors? If you're looking for their love and admiration, then don't be successful because they're not going to like it. They don't like it when you become really successful because it shines a light on their incompetence. It's not your problem, it's their problem.
Right.
All right, let's do another role play. We'll go back to Andrea, and Andrea, maybe you could select the next volunteer.
Okay, we have Larry Living. Your line is now open.
Hi, I'm going to turn this over to my new buyer agent, Mary.
Hey, Mary, no pressure, Mary.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you.
Hello?
Okay, Andrea,
I
what's going on?
don't know. It sounds like we may have a one-way conversation going. Larry, say hello. Can you hear us?
Hello?
It sounds like he cannot hear us. Okay, we'll move on. We have Philip Doyen. Your mic is open.
Philippe, how you doing,
yes.
Philippe?
Doing good, thank you. And you, Craig?
Hey, Philippe, let me introduce you to everybody. For those of you that don't know Philippe, Philippe is in the Montreal, Canada area. He's bilingual. He can do the script in English and in French. And Philippe is fairly excellent at the script, I must say. So now, no pressure, Philippe, but we're going to allow you to demonstrate your effectiveness with the universal callback script.
All right then, Craig. Show me your best curveball.
Okay. Would you like me to be a buyer or a seller prospect?
Please be a seller.
Okay. Ring, ring, hello.
Hello, may I speak with Mr. Proctor, please?
This is him.
Yes, Mr. Proctor, this is Philip with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for the seven seller traps to avoid when you're selling your home. Just wanted to let you know that I've popped it in the mail. Is that okay?
Yeah, you know, I didn't know that I was contacting a real estate agent.
Yes, you were. And by the way, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, Mr. Proctor?
Okay, now, just a note for everybody else. You see how Philippe handled that? He didn't see it as an objection, because it's not an objection. It's just an observation. So Philippe just keeps motoring with the script. It didn't affect him. He didn't go into the defense mode. He just said yes. So let's do that one more time, Philippe, just so everybody gets it. Hello?
Hello, may I speak with Mr. Proctor, please?
Speaking.
Yeah, Mr. Proctor, this is Philip with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I received a request for the 7 pitfalls to avoid when you're selling your Montreal home. Just wanted to let you know that I've popped it in the mail. Is that okay?
Oh, you're a real estate agent. I didn't know that this was being offered by a real estate agent.
Yes, it is. And by the way, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months, Mr. Proctor?
Yeah, we are thinking about it.
And if you were to move, would you be staying local or would you be moving out of the area?
We want to stay in Montreal. I'd like to get a little closer to work.
Okay, and if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
I don't know.
And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, would you like to receive my free monthly newsletter to keep you up to date with what's going on in the marketplace in the meantime?
I don't know. What's your newsletter about?
Well, it keeps you up to date with interest rates, buyers' intentions, sellers' intentions, and also stats on what the real estate market is doing. It's a free service, and of course, you can have it every month. Would you like that?
Okay.
All right. Would you have an email where I can send it to? I'm going to write that down.
All right, and I give you my email address.
Okay. And would it be okay for me to follow up with you at a later date to see how your project is moving along?
Sure.
Okay. And when would be a good date to call you back?
I guess in 6 months.
Okay. Well, enjoy the newsletter in the meantime, and I'll just call you in a few months to see how your project is moving along.
Okay, now that was very good. So let's do an autopsy here. Now, how many of you would agree I was pretty tight-lipped as a prospect? So and we've all had prospects like that before, right? So every question Philippe's asking me, I'm like, I don't know, maybe, not sure. Like, when do you think that might be? I'm not sure. You have a realtor to help you? I don't know, maybe. Would you prefer to buy first or sell first? I'm not sure. So Philippe, he's not sure what my motivation and timing is because I wouldn't answer any of the questions. So what Philippe says, Philippe says, well, look, would it be okay if I followed up with you at a later time? Now, this is a good sign because I said yes. Philippe said, would you like to get my monthly newsletter? I said yes. I asked what it was about, and I said, yeah, I'd like to get that. And Philippe, when he said, would it be okay if I followed up, and I said yes, you then went on to ask, well, when do you think would be a good time for me to do that, to follow up with you? And I said 6 months. Now, the key here is you always want to call the prospect back in half the time they indicate. So if they tell you 6 months, you want to call them back in 3 months. Okay, if they tell you 2 months, you want to call them back in 1 month. Why? Because prospects have a habit of purposely telling us a time frame that's longer than it really is. Why? Because they see us as salespeople. I have lost a lot of money by following up with prospects too late. But you know, I don't think I've ever lost any money by following up with a prospect too early. So, of course, Philippe knows all this because Philippe, people are asking, how long have you been in the program for now, Philippe?
Going on my 3rd year.
Okay, so they think you're really good, and so how long is Philippe? He's been in it for 3 years. Okay, so Philippe, let's do your follow-up call. So if I'd said 6 months, you're calling me back when?
In 3 months, so that would be February.
Okay, so let's pretend we're in February now, and Philippe's following up with me. Some of you were asking, well, what should this second or subsequent phone call sound like? So let's do one of those calls. Ring, ring.
Hello, may I speak with Mr. Proctor, please?
Speaking.
Yeah, Mrs. Proctor, this is Philippe with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I'm doing a follow-up to see how your moving plans are going along. We spoke a while ago, and I've been sending you my newsletter. So are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Now, here's what you're going to find. I find on subsequent calls, the next phone call, either the seller gets warmer towards you or they push you further away. So I'm going to be a nice guy and I say, yeah, Philip, thanks for calling back. We've given this some more thought, and I think we probably are going to act on this. We're probably going to make a move and get a little closer to work.
Okay, and when do you think that might be, Mr. Proctor?
Well, it's February now, so we don't really want to move in the winter, but I'm thinking, maybe around April or May when the snow melts.
And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
We have one realtor we know. He's the guy that sold us the house, and he's been in touch, and I committed to at least meeting with him.
Well, there's a tremendous difference between realtors. Would you be open to meeting with me as well?
Okay, what part did you say? Forget to say. There's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and the amount of money they're going to charge you to get the job and what job they're going to do for you. Right, so let's do that from the top.
And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right, Mr. Proctor?
Well, there's the only guy we know was the guy that sold us the house, and I promised him that I would talk to him when we're ready to make a move?
Well, there's a tremendous difference between realtors and how much they're going to charge you to get the job done. Would you be at least open to meet with me as well?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay. And would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
We definitely want to look around. We're looking in this part of Montreal over here, between this range and that range. I think we'd want to find something before we had the confidence to put our home up for sale.
Well, would you like me to email you daily updates of the home that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? My list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distress sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy on. Would that interest you, Mr. Proctor?
You know, I think we're good, Philippe, because that other realtor I was telling you about, he's already emailing us the houses.
Well, I don't know what the other realtor is emailing you, but my list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distress sales. Would you like to get my list as well?
Okay, so you think what you're going to be sending me might be different than what the other realtor's sending?
Like I said, I don't know what he's sending you, but my list does definitely include all the properties from all the real estate companies. On top of that, you'd get bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, and properties that are not yet on the market. And like I said, it's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy a home. You think that might be helpful?
Okay, so let's stop there for a minute. We know that a big fear that all buyers have is that they're going to miss out on a good deal. That they're fearful that they're not getting all the information. That's why they're on 18 different websites, right? That's why you got the lead in the first place. So when I say to Philippe, well, you know, I think I'm good. I have this other realtor sending me the information. Philippe does a very good job of putting fear into me. Philippe's saying, look, I don't know what the other realtor is sending you, but my list, you know, really has all the good deals. Bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales. It's free of service. Are you sure you wouldn't like to get this information as well? Now the prospect's thinking, well, hell, there's no downside. Yeah, why not? It's free. I should probably get Philippe's list as well, because you know, what if I'm not getting those listings? Okay, sure. I'd like your list too.
Okay. When could we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? Would you prefer days or evenings?
Okay, now the buyer's thinking, uh-oh. Okay, first of all, I thought there was no strings attached. Now this Philippe guy, he says, when can we meet to take down the criteria? And the buyer's thinking, well, gee, how do I get out of this? Oh, I know. Well, how about this, Philippe? Why do we need to meet? I can just tell you what I'm looking for over the phone.
Well, rather than email you hundreds of homes which may or may not match your home buying criteria, I have a form that I fill, and I can take down exactly what you're looking for, so you wouldn't miss out on the perfect home when it hits the market. And like I said, it's free. You're never obligated to buy a home, and it takes about 20 minutes. So what would work best for you, days or evenings?
Well, look, I've got your contact information. Why don't I'll check with my wife, and I'll call you back when she's available to meet.
Well, since I've got you on the phone, why don't we do this? Why don't we set up a tentative time, and you can check with your spouse, and if it doesn't work, we can always reschedule. So would you prefer days or evenings?
Boom. And let's wrap it up there. Philippe, another great job here, and you know, hopefully all of our newer members are listening to you, and they're thinking, wow, that, you know, Philippe sounds very natural on the phone. You become better and better at this all the time. Is there any advice, Philippe, you'd like to pass on to coaching members that are fairly new with us?
Well, maybe they should do like me, make sure that they log on every week, because I learn as much by listening as I learn by talking.
And you do, and you're on our webinars on a regular basis. And let me say this, and this is absolutely the truth. There is, you ready for this, a very direct correlation between the Craig Proctor coaching members that make the most amount of money and those that attend all the training sessions. There's also a direct correlation in the opposite direction. Those that don't do as well with the Craig Proctor program are those that skip out early, or they don't come on the training sessions, they don't come to the seminars, the live seminars that we conduct, and they haven't really mastered the program. They don't really fully understand it to the level that our most successful members do. So that should be sort of a warning shot to all of you that you want to participate. On that note, we are out of time today. I am going to encourage you all to be on our Ad Clinic webinar tomorrow. We're going to look at the ads. We're going to look at the ads that were submitted, and we can't maybe get to them all, but we're going to show you some examples of really great ads and some other ads that maybe need some help, and we're going to show you how to all become better marketers so you can target the very type of buyer and seller prospects that you most want to work with. This is a process, right? You're going to get better and better and better with your marketing. You're going to generate more leads and better leads, and then of course you're going to become better and better with the script. Every Thursday as we help you role play and master the universal callback script. So I want to thank everybody who volunteered. I want to thank everybody who was with us today, whether it was a chat question or whether you role played. And I want to thank Rick Brash and Andrea for doing an amazing job as well. But we're out of time. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow morning. Take care, and that concludes today's role play session.